If you did not see the fight between Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan, this is basically how it was going for 4+ rounds. Is it unfair of me to only show Petr Yan highlights? Maybe, but in my defense, there weren't too many Aljo highlights to put in here, so yeah. The fight was pretty one-sided, and as it wore on, we started to see Aljo just shooting lazy takedown attempts that were rebuffed by Yan with ease. I actually think statistically Aljo was like 1 for 14 on his takedown attempts against a fighter in Petr Yan who is known more for his striking. But the reason you are all here is not because of how the fight was going, it's because of how the fight ended. Aljo was a downed opponent and Yan hit him with an illegal knee to the head. Can't do that. You can't do that. Should it be a rule that you can't do that? Could be up for debate, but that is an illegal shot as the rules currently stand, and Yan was disqualified. It seems pretty straightforward, but some people have accused Aljamain Sterling of acting more hurt than he was, and using the illegal shot as a way to become champion in a fight that he was very clearly losing. Now, before we get into whether or not that's true that Aljo was faking it, just an aside real quick. I cannot understand why in a situation like this, the decision to continue the fight or not is left up to the fighter. At best, you have a guy who isn't really hurt at all, but can decide to become champion if he wants to based on an illegal shot that didn't really hurt him. At worst, you've got a guy who is concussed and should not keep fighting, but is allowed to decide whether or not the fight goes on and then takes more damage. This is a stupid system. Remove the choice from the fighter and we probably avoid this entire situation. All right, off my soapbox, let's look at what happened. People were upset with the way Aljamain Sterling was acting immediately after getting hit, and people have accused him of being a bad actor and overselling it. That knee was fucking hard, and to the head, and thrown by one of the best fighters in the world. That shit hurt. But I think most of the criticism and accusations of faking it are coming from things Aljo did after the fight and outside the cage. After the result was announced, Aljo took off and left the belt in the cage and said in his post-fight interview that he didn't think he deserved the belt, saying, quote, "This isn't how I want to win," end quote. That was a short-lived sentiment because later that night, pictures were taken of him wearing the belt and celebrating with his friends. Then after that, Aljo starts calling out Henry Cejudo, who was retired, and in this move, critics saw him as someone who was trying to avoid a rematch with Yan, who just worked him over for 4 rounds. The thought that he would be avoiding Yan was only further intensified when, while everyone was clamoring for the rematch, Aljo elected to have surgery, saying, quote, "I'm a little banged up, lingering issues from 10 years ago. It's just gotten progressively worse with every single fight camp. I'm at a point now where surgery is potentially on the table, just getting some muscle weakness in my arm," end quote. If you really want to dislike him and you think Aljamain Sterling is ducking Petr Yan, you say, see, even he admitted he's had this problem for a while, but just now wants to get it fixed. The UFC had Petr Yan fight Corey Sandhagen while the world waited for Aljo to be healthy, and Yan won an interim belt in that fight in October of last year. Now when Yan and Sterling fight again this weekend, it will be a little more than a year since the first fight. Here's what I think. I don't think that he was faking the injury. I do think he was hurt, and I do think it shouldn't have been his choice to continue or not. Could he have kept going? Maybe, but I can't say for sure either way, and the shot was illegal. That's not in question. Should Yan have lost the belt for that? Yeah, I think so. You can't do something that illegal and cause that much harm and keep your belt. And I think it's possible for 2 things to be true at the same time. It's possible that Aljo didn't want to win that way, but was also happy that he was now a champion. I think it's a really tough line to walk between leaving the belt in the cage because you think it was a bad stoppage and being happy that you also won a fight. I also get why he would want to have the surgery. I mean, let's call it like it is. The first fight with Yan was not competitive. If you have a nagging injury that you think impaired your performance and your next fight will be against a guy who just beat you up pretty badly, I get wanting to have the surgery to give yourself a better shot at winning that rematch. The mistake I think Aljamain Sterling made was not embracing the hate soon enough. If he immediately went full bad guy and was open about celebrating his win, people would be pissed, but they'd be pissed in a Chael Sonnen, Colby Covington, this is my shtick kind of way. But he seemingly got caught celebrating his win and then ducked Jan. He just didn't handle a complicated situation very well. Has your opinion of Aljamain Sterling changed since the illegal knee? Let me know down in the comments. One thing I do know, Petr Yan will beat Aljamain Sterling at UFC 273. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you are not already. If you want to watch something else, which you should, I would recommend one of these videos over here. Thanks again, and I will see you all next time.